Ladies and gentlemen, according to Kash, Patel, and John Ratcliffe, so the former director of national intelligence, and Kash Patel, a high-ranking official in Trump's campaign, or Trump's cabinet, we're going to have more indictments. Now, you might say, oh, nothing's ever going to happen. Oh, my goodness. This is a special counsel, ladies and gentlemen. It is a government-run investigation. It's a special counsel that needs political will and media support. It's gotten basically zero support in media and very little support in Congress. Rome was not built in a day, and I've been trying to tell everybody the testimony that was obtained from Mark Elias and Robbie Mook was the first time ever in a court of law that people within the Clinton campaign or inner circle actually said, yeah, Hillary approved disseminating false information to media, knowingly false information, as they purchased a Steele dossier and then years later paid an FEC fine. They purchased the Steele dossier, something that media and Democrats and the Justice Department would never let Trump do. And the standard of suspicion is completely different. You can actually read Wikipedia entries on any controversy with Trump and a controversy pertaining to Hunter or Joe or Hillary or anybody in the Democratic Party. The standard of suspicion is completely different, and the standard of proof or evidence is completely different also. Hearsay and gossip is actually used to indict Trump in a court of law, in public opinion. Hearsay and gossip is called out immediately. Like, not even hearsay and gossip, just emails that actually Hunter wrote, but because he didn't acknowledge they're his, but now we know they are his, but because he didn't acknowledge that they were his own emails where he actually explained that he's giving 10% of his income from multinational corporations and billionaires and shady individuals around the world, giving him money because of his family name and to get access to the United States government. That's within his emails. How can you use your influence on the company's behalf within his emails? I give 10%. He gives 10% to Joe of his income. That is just, you can't touch that because there's not absolute categorical proof he actually wrote those messages. But now we know 2 years later, the New York Post was 100% right and the Daily Mail was right. And those journalists should get a Pulitzer Prize, but they're not going to. But the standard of judgment, the standard of suspicion, the standard of evidence, and that's completely different. With Trump, anything goes, which is why in my last segment, you have to understand they're on the ropes politically. We're into a recession. We're going to possibly flirt with an economic depression. You might say that's hyperbolic. Go to the description section. I predicted everything taking place in the stock market in September of 2021. Hit subscribe to the stock market crash channel, the Bitcoin crash to 10,000 or lower channel. I started that when Bitcoin was at 30,000 people. It's going to get to 10,000 or lower. So I predicted that also. Now, again, I'm not right about everything over the years, but I'm right about the biggest topics. And oftentimes I talk about things nobody's talking about. And I end up being, correct on those things. And so in September of last year, I said we're going to have a stock market crash on this channel and in the stock market crash channel. And I predicted the crypto and Bitcoin crash on both channels as well. So subscribe to all three. If you want to support my work, my Patreon is below. And become a member. But ladies and gentlemen, if you want to give a super thanks is below. But ladies and gentlemen, he needs political support. The House and the Senate will team up with John Ratcliffe. The special counsel is not done yet. Igor Danchenko will not have he won't have the luxury of being a high-powered attorney. And the Durham probe prosecutors have to alter their strategy. No jury is going to be convinced that the Federal Bureau of Investigation was duped or that officials there were deceived by the Clinton campaign or Danchenko or anyone or any attorney. Nobody was deceived in the United States government. They were willing participants. They wanted to investigate Trump. And what Durham has to do, actually, is look and say, okay, he's going to have to poke holes within the intelligence community assessment. It's not even a community. It's 3 agencies. And, 3 people, Comey, McCabe, Comey, Clapper, and Brennan, all of whom despised Trump. So he's going to have to actually say, hey, you know what? Did you have any direct evidence that Trump colluded or was installed? Any direct evidence? Because James Clapper told Chuck Todd in 2017 there was no direct evidence. They still investigated him anyway. See, if the tables were turned, if John Ratcliffe said we need to investigate Hunter, the entire media and the Democratic Party would say, what? He's going after his direct political rivals. He's going after his direct political rivals. He's using intelligence chiefs to go after poor Hunter. Or Joe. And they impeached him they impeached him because a bunch of people said that he wanted to he was pressuring another country's president, which the president of that country literally stated he was never pressured. So why they impeached him, who knows? But see, again, the standard of suspicion, the standard of proof is completely different for Trump and Hunter or Joe or Hillary. But I want a Hillary Trump 2024 or Hillary DeSantis 2024. Problem is, I do think that it's possible that they indict him. I'm not going to feel good about it. I'm going to feel very upset about it, but I'm letting everybody know it's possible. Anyway, the Durham Probe Special Counsel is going to team up with Republicans, Trump Republicans. Okay, Trump Republicans. They want payback. They want political, legal retribution, the same way Democrats did when Trump defeated Clinton in 2016. They haven't stopped. Then they get all indignant and horrified that Trump doesn't accept. They never accepted. Not one day did they treat Trump like a president. Did they ever accept that Trump defeated them? Not one day. And you say, well, Democrats did accept it. No, they opposed his presidency because they kept saying, with baseless claims, false and baseless. How come when they were accusing Trump of being installed by the Kremlin or colluding with the Kremlin, how come it was never Democrats baselessly claim? And the rebuttal could be, well, it was based on James Clapper or Brennan. But what did they have? They said there was no direct evidence. All they had was suspicion. So you can utilize suspicion against Trump, but you can't utilize suspicion against any Democrat, because God forbid, you need absolute categorical proof. You need you need to see it like, hammered in stone, categorical proof against Democrats. If you ever are suspicious at all, you just can't do it. But with Trump, somebody, a really smart person from government said something that he actually did these bad things. And that's why, the Durham Probe Special Counsel is going to indict a lot more people, according to John Ratcliffe and Kash, Patel, and others. They're going to team up, ladies and gentlemen, with Trump Republicans in the House and the Senate. We're heading into not only a recession, a prolonged recession. This is a prolonged recession. I predicted this economic downturn in 2021. Nobody was really talking about that on YouTube. The financial channels were not. And there's a lot of great financial channels I watch. They were not. A lot of in 2021, the major financial channels, and I watched them. I'm like fans of all of them. They were not talking about that. I was. Okay? I was. I predicted the stock market collapse and the economic collapse in 2021. And so tell your friends. Just word of mouth is if to my 9-minute crowd, word of mouth. Tell your friends that I predicted it. H.A. Goodman told the world in 2021 September that we'd have not only a stock market, but crypto crash as well. And I have a Bitcoin crash to 10,000 or lower. Subscribe there, and a stock market crash channel. So subscribe there. But he's going to indict more people. He's going to imprison people. How long they stay in prison, who knows? But the key is to get to the top individuals that set up and frame Trump. Now, again, they could try to just level an indictment at Trump. And even if he's innocent, the media coverage alone would create such a frenzy of support within the Democratic Party that they lack, because everything they touch turns to the fertilizer that's 500% more expensive now. Anyway, hit subscribe to this channel right now. We're heading into an economic collapse. Massive layoffs, hedge funds going under, banks, all these. In a 2008 moment, Democrats are on the ropes, so they're probably leaning towards finding some way to indict Trump. But at the same time, even if they don't, the Durham probe special counsel continues, and now with the added support of Congress. That's huge, people. Give me your thoughts below. Hit subscribe right now. Thank you so very, very much. I'll see you in a couple of